Oop, and just like that, we are back with part 2 of Raven's story. On this week's episode of Quear, Raven is going to be chatting to us about the LGBTQ plus organization she started called Butterfly Barbados. Butterfly Barbados is an organization working on changing the narratives with governments to make a more inclusive country for non-binary and transgender individuals. In this episode, we're going to talk about how it all started, the organization's mission, some of the challenges transgender individuals face in Barbados, what the organization is providing, and some of the future plans. In this episode, you are also going to learn how you can support, how you can become a better ally. So don't go anywhere. Now, if you've missed Raven's story, make sure you go back and watch it. It is so powerful. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss this. It's the previous episode. Don't forget, we launched a podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts where you can catch the entire interview. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a little comment or a review. We also recently launched our Patreon page for as little as $3 a month. You can help support the creative journey of Quear so we can continue to evolve the content that we're giving you. And last but not least, do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Yes, do all 4. All right, enough about me. Let's meet Butterfly Barbados.
Butterfly is Butterfly Barbados on social media, Instagram and Facebook. The organization was founded out of Equals focus group. Equals is another LGBT organization in Barbados. And usually the conversations would go anywhere from between LGBT, poverty, education, or just that sometimes you would let the participants pick the topic and we would just roll from there. Many times when I was facilitating, I would see a few members that were a bit reserved and not really talking, but I could tell that they were not gay. One night I specifically picked out those persons and said, come the night in front and we will do our own thing. And they were a lot more open, a lot more receptive. I guided the conversation along the lines of being trans and what it means to be trans. And eventually some of them said they think that they may be trans, and some of them said, I'm not sure if they want to fit into that box. And it was like, well, there's non-binary and there's gender non-conforming. Realizing that in an MSM or gay men's space, that trans persons existed and didn't feel comfortable. Yeah. So that's how Butterfly came about.
Wow. And what are some of the things that you guys do at Butterfly?
The main things are focusing on mental health and access through social justice. Mental health is a big thing for me. I'm studying psychology. I find that transitioning is usually focused on the physical aspect. So like, you want to be trans, you want breasts. You want to be a trans man, you want to get your breasts removed. You want facial hair, and you want, depending on muscles or lean or whatever the case may be, trans women, you want hips and bottom and all kind of things. It always seems to be the physical components first, where that shouldn't be. Like you identify as trans, you're going through that mental struggle, body dysphoria, all these things. So you should have some sort of guide on how to navigate that in a healthy manner. One of the big things that we would have done, and this is right before COVID had hit, was do a mental health workshop training, like psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists, mental health nurses, on how to competently interact with the trans community and not depend on the DSM as American text, which gives you the diagnosis and breakdown of each mental health disorder. And transgender was considered a mental health illness. So in 2019, the DSM declassified it as a mental illness, but the wording there is still not the best. With the workshop that we did, it was to help them understand being trans in the Barbadian context, specifically the Barbadian context, and what it means to identify in this subset of people and navigate life and the barriers that we face. Leaving home, you're going to be called man, ugly, bulla, whatever the case may be, and how that affects you.
I don't think people understand how much words affect individuals, you know?
You don't know if the person is suicidal, low self-esteem, if the person has a compounded set of mental health illnesses. So that was the way to bridge the gap where we didn't have any sort of mental health care at all, along with the physical transitioning medical component.
And you guys have created a safe space for trans people to come and understand, learn, explore, and be themselves. Correct?
Yeah, because we operate under one space equals Butterfly and She Barbados.
That's really powerful and good. The community needs it.
Yeah, the community definitely needs.
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit on what discrimination looks like for trans individuals and what Butterfly is doing to help those areas? Start with insurance.
Insurance is a tricky thing to navigate. Insurance companies don't know how to insure trans people. They only recently worked on how to insure gay men because before they would insist on an HIV test. If you were HIV positive, they weren't insuring you. And if they were, they would increase your premiums significantly. So being trans and looking for insurance is hard because what job do you have to pay the premiums? What are you insuring? Life insurance, house insurance. You don't have a house because you don't have money. You don't have money because you don't have a job. So all of these things are stats against the trans community.
Wow.
There's certain things that insurance covers medically, and if you don't have insurance, you can't get those things. Outside of things like breast augmentation surgeries, you may have a tumor that needs to be removed, a cancerous tumor that insurance usually would cover 50 to 80% of, but you can't get it because they don't know how to insure trans people. Insurance companies need to re-up on how to cover everybody in the country, trans-specific included.
And let's talk about healthcare.
Healthcare has increased trans-specific. There is Barbados Family Planning Association, and that's a private clinic, but access and trans-friendly. There are certain polyclinics in Barbados, free polyclinics, that would work with the trans community, or you can go and access services where you wouldn't get the stigma or discrimination. Working towards a whole widespread, when you just walk in and you're trans and you don't have to worry about asking for specifically Nurse Charles or whoever. Transitioning, or the component to transition, there's not HRT, hormone replacement therapy, for those who don't know what it means. We're working towards getting proper HRT for the community, both trans men and trans women, to transition safely as opposed to over-the-counter stuff that they just go and buy and don't know the side effects, repercussions, or not knowing that you're supposed to do certain health checks before you just start taking these things. Funding helps play into how we can create workshops and spaces to educate these doctors that may not have access to the community specifically. We train these people, and then you put out the information on social media or through the same family planning so that they can spread within their doctors' networks that this organization is doing this training, get on board so you can know more and do more in the future.
Got it. That's good. A lot of work to be done still, though.
Definitely a lot of work.
Is it easy for people in Barbados to change their gender marker on their IDs and change your name?
You can change your name easily at the court, the Supreme Court, and it is $210. It takes 6 to 8 weeks. You change your name for whatever reason, it no longer goes with my identity, religious reasons, whatever the case may be. You can't change your gender marker. That is tied to an old colonial law that was left, and that is the Vital Statistics Act, aka birth certificate. Because it's never been challenged, there's nothing there, no amendments that can be made to change it from male to female. It is hard navigating life, presenting as a female, presenting as a woman, everyday woman, and then when you have to pull out your ID, license, passport, you seeing a woman but it says male. That is always a big confusion.
Of course, yeah.
So working towards that, and then I had a meeting with the registrar of the Supreme Court, and her secretary said, "Oh, gender is a social construct, so man and woman." I was like, "You don't need to tell me about what gender is, lady. I live it. I don't need you to tell me your arbitrary views on whatever is whatever. I need to find out if there is a way that we can go about fixing this."
Are they looking towards changing that, or?
I was advised that you either write to the Solicitor General, who is the main person of the government body that is there to keep whatever laws, remove whatever laws, or amend whatever laws. But the person that advised that said it would be futile, and then it is a challenge in court, but court cases take forever. It's also a lot of money. You need a great legal team that would be able to break that barrier. You also have to think about safety. When you're challenging things that the majority is against, there is some level of safety that you have to consider. You may be attacked on the street because your name is going to be attached to the court filing, unless you do it incognito and then you're still attacked, or your house is shot at or burned or whatever. They try to attack your family to get to you. So you have to be mindful of all these things when you are filing or challenging with court cases.
Wow. Do you see a lot of violence in Barbados towards LGBTQ plus people?
Yes and no. Based on, there is a tool that the organizations use. It's called SID, Shared Incident Database. We've gotten hundreds of stories, complaints with proof, pictures, videos, audio recordings of acts of violence against the community. There was a trans woman who was attacked and killed by her lover in 2008.
Wow.
She went to court to get a restraining order, and he still killed her. The violence is in clusters. You may get it 20% increase in 2 years, and then it's down to 5% for the next 4 years, but then it increases again. There was one string of instances crop over where gay men were flagging flamboyant gay men, and there were attacks, stone bottles consecutively for 4 years, every crop over.
Wow.
So it depends, but
It
it definitely is there. And again, some people don't report instances because the police don't do shit.
Especially if you're queer, yeah.
Yeah.
What are so last question. What are the future plans or goals or things you're working on right now at Butterfly Barbados?
One of the major things for us is having a shelter. So it would operate as the office space and the shelter, because when you're trans, the easiest thing to do is to be kicked out. Even if you don't visibly present feminine, once you identify that you are a woman or express it to someone, you're kicked out. You're not given a job. So it would be a sheltered office space. A part of it would be able to do hair, pedicures, whatever. So those persons who have that skill or are interested in that can make some sort of residual money that they can use for themselves to get on their feet and sustain their own lives, as well as finding a way to incorporate trans education into the curriculums, UE,
Absolutely.
so that doctors and lawyers and business management courses can have that component to know how to adequately work with the community specifically.
Wow. That's great. You guys are doing some amazing work.
Thanks.
I
and
think
it's stressful.
Yeah, I could imagine. I think that for us, anybody who's watching, is just Raven has brought so much to the table in the sense of what goes on here in Barbados, being trans, and there's a lot that we can learn on how to treat individuals or each other better and as human beings, and also support and how they do have an organization and always looking for donations and support. So there's a link below where you can click if you have any questions. You can message. There's a contact button there too to see how you can get involved and support Butterfly Barbados. So,
yes, and we do have a website. You can reach out to us on the website. It's butterflybarbados.com, and you can send us the emails, send us any questions, and the link to donate is also on the website. So yes.
Yeah, everything will be in the little bio below. I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on here, sharing your story and sharing everything about Butterfly Barbados. I think it's so important for us to understand some of the situations that happen here in Barbados, create a little bit more empathy, and also help any individual that is struggling, and they can reach out to you and connect. So I just want to say you're a powerful person. You're so beautiful, and I think that I'm grateful that we've met and you've come on here and shared on Quear. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys. We will catch you next week. Ciao for now. Thank you, Raven, for helping me and others learn about Butterfly Barbados. and creating such a fantastic, much needed organization in Barbados. As I said last time, Barbados has a long way to go in the fight for equality and trans rights. If you want to get involved and support Butterfly Barbados, all the links will be below in the bio. And lastly, let's continue to educate ourselves and become better allies. See you guys next week in a brand new episode. Ciao for now.